Welcome to Alpha Insights. I'm Brittany. Today we've got a fast moving utilities story. Talon Energy's big purchase of gas fired plants, state permitting reforms in the mid Atlantic, and how booming data center demand is forcing regulators to sit up and pay attention. With me is Rahul, an emerging market specialist who watches energy transitions closely. Rahul, great to have you.
Thanks, Brittany. Excited to be here. This is one of those stories where deals, policy, and customer behavior all collide, and investors should be listening.
Let's start with the headline. Talon Energy agreed to buy about 2.6 gigawatts of natural gas capacity for $3.45 billion. Tell us why that matters beyond just a big price tag.
Sure. First, two things at once: scale and dispatchability. 2.6 gigawatts is meaningful in the PJM footprint. And by the way, PJM is the regional grid operator covering the Mid Atlantic and parts of the Midwest. Buyers are paying up for plants that can run on demand. That matters because as more electricity load shows up from electrification and big tech, especially data centers, markets need reliable, dispatchable power, not just intermittent wind or solar.
So, this is a consolidation play?
Exactly. We are seeing consolidation where owners with capital pick up merchant assets. For investors, that can mean steadier capacity market revenues and potentially more predictable cash flow for the buyer. It also reduces short-term reliability risk in the region, which should be positive for market sentiment in the near term.
The report also flags permitting changes in mid Atlantic states. What's shifting and why should investors care?
States are looking to cut procedural delays that have held up projects, everything from interconnection timelines to local siting battles. Some places are even shifting authority toward public utilities to speed approvals. For investors, shorter permitting is huge. It lowers construction risk and compresses the time between committing capital and seeing a plant earn revenue. But it isn't instant. These are policy changes and pilot programs, and implementation will vary state by state.
Got it. Now, the other big theme is data centers. Reports say grid operators are increasingly dependent on voluntary cooperation from cloud providers. What does that mean in practice?
Data centers are unique because they create large, concentrated, and flexible demand. They can either help the grid by shifting load or make things worse if they all draw power during peaks. Right now, a lot of the cooperation is voluntary. Companies sign up for demand response or make informal agreements. The controversy is whether those voluntary steps are enough and whether regulators should formalize how large commercial loads are treated in auctions and reliability planning.
There was talk about an emergency auction at PJM pushed by the administration. Is that real policy change or more of a political signal?
Analysts call it primarily signaling. It puts the issue on the table and pressures PJM to look at market design, but it does not automatically rewrite auction rules. Still, signaling matters. Once regulators and market operators start formal stakeholder processes or filings, carve-outs or special products can evolve. Investors should watch for any actual market filings coming out of PJM because those can change how generators and big customers interact and get paid.
If I'm an investor owning utilities or generator stocks, what should I be watching this week and in the coming months?
4 things. 1. Track any mid-Atlantic rule changes or pilot programs that speed permitting or reassign siting authority. 2. Watch PJM stakeholder responses and formal filings tied to that emergency auction idea. 3. Follow Talon Energy's integration plan for the acquired plants. Look for closing timelines and financing details, and then the capacity market performance once the plants enter service. And 4. Monitor data center contracts and whether major cloud providers commit to formal reliability arrangements. Also keep an eye on batteries and on-site generation trends. those standby assets are being redeployed, and that changes utilization and maintenance economics.
Any red flags investors should worry about?
Yes, political pushback is one. Where data centers are politically sensitive, regulators might tighten rules in ways that change revenue prospects. Also, permitting reforms might face legal challenges or local resistance, which would slow their impact. Finally, merchant assets still face market price risk. Consolidation helps, but you still need to model capacity market outcomes and merchant revenue carefully.
Before we wrap, can you give listeners 2 or 3 quick takeaways they can remember?
Absolutely. 1. Talon Energy's $3.45 billion purchase of 2.6 gigawatts signals that dispatchable generation is being valued more highly, good for merchant players who can bid into capacity markets. 2. Mid-Atlantic permitting reforms could shorten construction timelines and reduce risk. But watch the state-by-state details. It's a phased process, not instant. 3. Data center growth creates opportunities for flexible generators and storage, but also raises regulatory scrutiny. Watch PJM filings and any formal market changes before making big portfolio bets.
Perfect. Rahul, thanks for breaking this down so clearly. That was Rahul joining us on Alpha Insights. If you own utilities or generator stocks, keep an eye on permitting, PJM, and how big tech responds. I'm Brittany. See you next time.